Hey guys, Miss Hale here. I teach personal finance. Some of you have me for that class. What I'm going to share with you today are just the answers to two really important questions relating to finances in college. And they're all revolving around student loans. The first question is, are they worth it? The second question, how are you going to pay them back? If you're currently in my class this year, you already know the answers to these, so just sit tight and give everyone else a chance to work their way through this so they understand what's going on. Because this can make a really big difference for your finances in the future. Okay, so our driving question here today is, if I don't get enough scholarship money to cover the cost of college, because again, that's the best option, don't have to pay back scholarships, yay, we love that. But if you don't, is it better to work full-time first and save up so that you can pay cash for college rather than getting student loans? Or is it better to just jump right into college, work part-time, and get student loans to cover whatever parts you aren't able to? You've got a worksheet there that's been handed out to you. It's already filled in with the majority of the things. There are a few blanks that we've got over on this side in some of these areas. I'm going to breeze over this stuff and explain where these numbers are coming from. It might go fast for you. If you have questions, feel free to stop by and see me in room 901 or ask Ms. Rawson to pause it if there's time to do that. Okay, so basically our driving question has two different paths you can take with your life. Path number one, you just go to college, get it over with. Any money that you need to cover costs that you aren't able to pay for, you get student loans for. Okay, so with our scenario, we've got a table here, and our first column is showing the ages, your ages for the next 10 years of your life, assuming you're 18 right now. Okay, if you were to jump into college next year and still work part-time, we're putting a minimum wage job here. I know many of you make more than that, but if you worked part-time, minimum wage, $8.25 an hour, 25 hours a week. 25 is probably the maximum number of hours you're going to want to work while you're going to school full-time. If you start working more than that, it becomes really difficult to keep up with your schoolwork and keep your grades high. Assuming you work every week of the year, and we lose 20% in taxes. If you didn't know that, yes, you lose about 20% of the money you make to taxes. What that would give us is an annual income of about $8,580. If you do that for 4 years while you're going to college, what you're going to end up borrowing is about, we'll say, $4,000 a year. Okay, UNLV costs about $6,000 per year. Let's say you're able to cover $2,000 of those costs out of this money, and then the rest of it's used for cost of living. So if we got $4,000 in student loans every year for 4 years of college, that would be $16,000 worth of student loans. Let's say you really don't want to take the rest of your life to pay this off. You want to just get it out of the way, because as you will learn in fourth quarter in your personal finance unit, or as you have learned in my class, the shorter you take to pay off a loan, the less money you pay in interest. So let's say after college you really disciplined yourself and you paid it off within 2 years. Using current rates, your payment would be $696 a month, and if you got it done within 2 years, you'd only end up paying an additional $724.78 in interest. Now, rates are always changing, so these are just estimates. We don't know what they're going to be 4 years ago. 4 years from now, I mean. Okay, you graduate from college, you get a job. Woohoo! I chose a teaching job. Why? To help eliminate bias. I chose the lowest pay for our hourly job, and so I chose to compare that with a college degree career, something that is known or talked about as being one of the lowest paying careers for someone with a bachelor's degree, which is a teaching job. If we lose our taxes on this, that means we have about $32,720 coming in. Okay. Adding all of this income up, over 10 years, we're going to bring in $230,640. If we pay our loans off within those 2 years, what that means is the total amount of income we've had coming in will be $213,915.22. That's a lot of money in 10 years, right? Now, of course, this isn't taking into account cost of living and where you're spending your money and that kind of stuff. But this is going to be an important number for us a little bit later. Okay, so we just talked about path number 1. We just jump right into college, get student loans. Now let's go to path number 2. We want to avoid debt because we hear it's bad and we don't want to waste money on interest. So we choose to work full-time for 2 years, then go to college and use the cash that we'd saved up to help pay for college so that we don't have student loan debt. So taking a look at this, if again we stick with our minimum wage job to keep things balanced, instead of 25 hours a week, we're working 40 hours a week and we lose 20% to taxes. That means we'll have about $13,000 and $14,000 a year. Okay, so basically if we subtract what we were making at ages 18 and 19 in our table to the left, from what we are making now, that's a difference of $5,148 per year. Woohoo! Okay. So the extra that we would have saved in those 2 years combined is $10,296. And we are assuming, this is the hard part, that you're going to use that extra money you made by working full-time as opposed to part-time to actually put into a savings account that you're saving for college rather than buying that new Michael Kors bag or getting a brand new car or stuff like that to look cool. Because that is a temptation once that money starts coming in. But we're going to assume you're good and you save it all and set it aside for college, all that extra you made. Then you go to college, you work throughout college at our part-time rate, okay, so $8.25 an hour, 25 hours a week, we're back down to $8,500 a year. Our college costs, we're assuming they haven't increased. We're assuming that we're going to need about $4,000 worth of cash every single school year to pay for college. Earlier we already said, well, that's $16,000 worth of bills that are going to come in. You saved an additional $10,296. So what that means is even with those 2 years of full-time work, we're still going to need $5,704 more. So we'll either have to increase the hours we work here or take out student loans because our money is going to run out. If we do this, we're going to be graduating when we're turning 24. And assuming we get the same type of job, so the teaching job, that means we'll start earning money, $32,720 a year every year after that. What does this give us overall as a total? Well, our total student loan amount is $5,704, assuming we paid that off in 2 years. Same rates. We have a lot smaller payment because we took out a lot less debt. Woohoo, we love that. Which means our total interest is only $258.38. Altogether, if we pay off our principal, what we borrowed, and the interest, the thank you money we have to give them for letting us use their money, $5,962.38 is what we'll lose to our student loans. What this means is that total amount that we've made over these 10 years, that $192,656, will decrease because we're going to spend some of that to pay these loans off. It's going to decrease to $186,693.62 over the course of 10 years. Now let's compare our two paths to see which one is the best financially for us. Okay, so path number 1, we went into debt, $16,000 worth of debt. That's a bunch. And we ended up making, in the course of 10 years, $213,915 after paying those student loans off. Path number 2, we did what we thought was very responsible, right? We didn't take out a lot of debt. We worked full time. We paid cash for college as much as we could. We didn't want to postpone it any longer, so we did take out a little bit of student loans. In the end, however, going this responsible route, what we thought was responsible, we actually end up with almost $30,000 less in the same 10-year period. Really counterintuitive because we thought, hey, we're saving money because we're not going into debt, which means less interest. Well, it was only about $500 less interest. Why is the difference here, down here, so big then? Here's why. If you look over your 2 tables, by getting college taken care of at the beginning of this decade, we have 6 years of $32,000 income. Every year that we postpone college, it's like you're trading in one of these $32,000 years for a $13,000 year. We did that twice in this scenario. Some people do it 4 years. They put college off. They put it off 8 years. What you're doing is you're cutting out really high earnings in exchange for low earnings. So, we now know getting student loans can help us get through college in a shorter amount of time to get our really large earnings coming in. And those large earnings will offset any losses we have through student loans and interest. Is there a way I can maybe not have to pay back my student loans so I get even more money? And the answer is yes, there are some student loan forgiveness programs. I'm going to briefly go over a few of these. It's commonly referred to as the Obama Student Loan Forgiveness Program, originally William D. Ford Student Loan Forgiveness. So what used to be the options were standard repayment. You just pay off your loans a piece at a time. They send you the minimum payment. You make that for the next 10 years or whatever your term is you agreed to. Another option that you used to be able to set up is what's called graduated repayment, which just means you start with lower payments and then as time goes on, they increase them with the idea that when you first start in the career, you're going to be making small monies. As time goes on, the amount you're going to be making is going to go up, so you'll be able to afford bigger payments. However, with Obama's additions to this, I need to move that up a little bit, we have a couple other nice options. With the income contingent, income-based, and pay-as-you-earn, these are the new things that he added in, you can actually limit the amount of your monthly payment to your student loans to 10 to 15% of your discretionary income, meaning your fund money. Okay? After 20 to 25 years of making monthly payments, so more than you've lived already, then the government says, okay, if you make these small payments for 20 to 25 years, we'll forgive whatever is left. Sounds nice, but it's a long time to go. Another option, another loan forgiveness program is what's called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness. This one you can get your loans forgiven within 10 years or 120 payments. Okay? You need to do what are called direct loans. After you've filled out your FAFSA and you've gotten your loan information, you'll see your loans will say like direct Stafford student loan or direct Perkins student loan. Okay? Just make sure it has that word direct on it if you want to qualify for this. If you work in public service, meaning a government agency, a tax-exempt nonprofit, or a non-tax-exempt nonprofit, so in jobs that are like the medical field, where you're serving the community, military service, public safety, law enforcement, early childhood education, library services, anything like that where you're serving the public, you can get your loans forgiven in only 10 years. You cannot make early payments or make 120 payments by paying twice a month and get them forgiven in 5 years. That's not an option. You have to extend it out over 10 years. And then after those payments, whatever is left over, again, you won't have to pay back. They'll just say, okay, you're done. You've paid enough. along with that, you do have to be enrolled in one of these plans, which is actually nice. Those plans were the ones that we mentioned earlier that limit the amount of your monthly payment to 10 to 15% of your discretionary income. And you have to be full-time for those whole 10 years. So you can't work part-time for 10 years and get your loans forgiven. You have to be full-time. If something comes up and you aren't able to work in that field anymore, or you decide you hate it after 5 years, sorry, you're out of luck. You won't be able to get your loans forgiven. Next one is teacher loan forgiveness. You can, if you decide to become a teacher, get $5,000 to $17,500 of your student loan debt forgiven. Requirements are you have to work 5 consecutive years, so 5 years one after another without a break. There are some loopholes into what those breaks are, like if you quit to go back to grad school in an education-related thing, okay? And that's something you can worry about after you're actually teaching, you've got your degree. I've definitely watched that before I quit my job. 5 years consecutively at a low-income or Title I school. Okay, it has to be on the federal list. If you're interested in that, stop by and see me or Google federal list of low-income schools. ECTA is on that list. So you could be a teacher at ECTA, a beautiful school, amazing school. We love working here, okay, and get qualified for this. How much do you get? Well, the only people that actually get $17,500 forgiven are ones that go into the subjects that are the least likely for teachers to choose to go into. So teaching middle school or high school math or science or elementary special ed. If you go into any other subject or any other grade, you'll get only $5,000 forgiven. But hey, that's $5,000 of free money after only 5 years. So way less than 20, way less than 25 or 10. Your degree has to be in education and directly related to your position. So if I have a degree in art education, but I'm teaching math, I'm not going to get that $17,500. I have to have a degree in math education and be teaching math. Last but not least, we have our Perkins loan. Not everyone is going to see Perkins loan. So I mentioned earlier you'd have direct, and it would say Stafford. The other option that it could say is direct Perkins. If you are offered loans and you're choosing between Stafford and Perkins, take the Perkins. Not everyone gets that. Only people that are considered, according to the taxes that they reported in their FAFSA, exceptional financial need, meaning you're really struggling financially. Okay, these are the only people who get Perkins loans. The beautiful thing about this, and the reason they do this, is for those who really struggle financially. If you take out these particular loans, you can actually get a percentage of those loans forgiven every year. So you don't even have to wait 5 years. You don't have to wait 10 years or anything like that. Every single year that you work in public service, so again, in the medical field, teaching field, Peace Corps, military, law enforcement, those kinds of things. And they'll keep on forgiving a percentage of your loans every single year until 100% of your loans have been taken care of. So that's a really nice option. In conclusion, something you need to be aware of are risks, right? These programs many of them are federal programs, so Congress has to vote on them, and Congress may change their mind on them. If they change their mind before you have finished your 5 years or 10 years, you may be able to be grandfathered in. They may still honor that, but you never know. Next thing, if you think you're working in the public service industry, but you didn't actually research to make sure that it was considered public service by the feds who are going to be deciding if they forgive your loans, you could work 5 years and have none of it count. So you need to be really careful when you're choosing your job and double checking on this to make sure the career you're choosing actually is one that qualifies for these forgiveness programs. You could get a job that is in that field. You become a police officer or something, and you hate your job after 1 to 2 years. If you've taken out a lot of loans and you were depending on this student loan forgiveness program, you don't really have as many options. You need to keep going until, in this career that you hate, until you get that forgiveness or find another way to pay them back. Last but not least, with the risks on this, the government and any of these agencies are infamous for paperwork problems. Okay, when I was filling mine out for teacher loan forgiveness, it took me a good 6 months of resubmitting paperwork after I got denied over and over again for reasons that weren't true. So it's a pain in the neck, and just be prepared for that. But if you get forgiven like mine did, it's very worth it. The easiest solution, so you don't have to be overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to pay this back, or I'm not sure if I'm going to qualify for this loan forgiveness program, and on and on. Don't borrow more than you can pay back in a short amount of time. Okay, keep in mind your job outlook. If you're going to become a teacher, and let's say in the United States, the average teacher salary is $50,000. I think that's probably high. That's off the top of my head, though. You're not going to want to go to an out-of-state school, say UCLA, and pay, let me see, I've got their tuition listed right here, and pay $35,705 a year for 4 years, totaling up to somewhere around $120,000 in student loan debt. That's going to take a long time to pay off as a little teacher. Okay? If you're going to do a career that tends to have a lower salary, you want to do school as cheap as possible. So CSN, UNLV, in-state, using scholarships, that kind of stuff. If you are not going to be able to pay back your student loans without loan forgiveness, if you are betting all of your livelihood on that loan forgiveness, you're probably taking out too many loans. Okay, and it's not a wise thing to do, and you should probably look around for other options. Maybe just going to that in-state school. Maybe applying for more scholarships, that kind of stuff. In conclusion, as Ms. Rawson always says, you've got this, okay? Just be smart, be wise, and ask for help. Again, a Rawsonism. You've got this, we've got you. So we're here to help you. Come and see us. Let us help you. If there's any other questions, let me know. If you have questions about those student loan forgiveness things, at the bottom of the paper you'll see I've got the sources, the websites you can go to get more information. Good luck, and have a great day.